What's up, guys? So today we're gonna talk about 10 things no one tells you about your late 20s. Now, I know because I've been there. Now, if you're wondering what are some of the things that life has in store for you, well, stick around for this video. Hey guys, it's Lee and welcome to Hang with Lee TV. This is a channel that is more of a lifestyle channel where I talk about all things life related. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing. I make new videos every Wednesday. So the first thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that it's easier to get fat now. So just think back. No cutscene. Just think back to those days where you could eat pizza and Chinese food like every night for dinner and then finish it off with a carton of Ben & Jerry's and like half a bottle of Hershey's chocolate syrup on top of that. So just think back to those days. Well, not anymore. Now when you eat too much of something too often, you feel the accumulated fat almost instantly when you walk. And now, if you brush it off, even for just a little while, you'll permanently have to like unbutton your pants now, okay? And then if you brush it off even longer, then you'll have to finally cave and ask one of your friends if that juice cleanse really works. Now, the second thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that most people still don't know what the heck they're doing with their life, okay? So everyone makes it seem like, you know, by the time you turn 30, that everyone has their life completely figured out. That you're supposed to have, you know, this career that's blossoming and that all the hard work from your early 20s and college days are gonna manifest into some stellar career, and now you're gonna have your own corner office with massive windows overlooking this massive city, and then you're gonna look down on these peons below you walking on the street level. Then they also make it seem like that now you get the opportunity to make people wait for you, right? Wait for you out in their little waiting room behind those little closed doors to your office while you finish up the last few minutes of the Netflix show that you've been obsessing about lately. That's what they make it seem like your late 20s are gonna be like. And the truth is, honestly, is that most people are still figuring things out, okay? They're still like experimenting, you know, they're still like early in their career, or maybe they've changed careers altogether at some point within the last couple years or so. That's just like perfectly normal and it's perfectly fine. So don't let the hype fool you. That's just how it is. Now, the next thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that you care less, okay? You just care less about things in general. So remember, you know, back in the day where everything used to matter, everything used to bug you, everything you just had to know, okay? You just had to know, right? You care about what so-and-so said about you, or what so-and-so thinks about you, or why your friend's friend made that face at you when you went to their party, right? These are the things that you used to care about. And now you just sleep like a baby. Now you've got more important things to worry about. And in fact, you care even less about what people actually have to say about you. And it's just like one of those things where you probably used to be like, oh, I could care less, or I don't care. Well, now it's like literal. Now you really don't care. And that's just how it is. Now, the next thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that you get really excited about new appliances. Who knew? Who knew? Now, one of the things that I actually got obsessed about and I actually finally purchased was an espresso machine. Like, it's something that I've been really wanting for a long time. And I just like started to look at them and research them and compare them and all this stuff. And I finally pulled the trigger and I actually got one. And now I tell anybody who will listen how great it is and how delicious the coffee is and all the amazing drinks that I have. And then I post my little pictures on Instagram of my little latte art. Now that's my thing. That's my thing. It's what I do. And so, you know, the next thing I've been thinking about is possibly, maybe, I don't know yet, is like maybe like an air fryer or something like that. But there's also other things that you get obsessed about, right? Like, for instance, like a mixer, right? Like maybe you want to make some kind of really cool recipe and now you need that mixer. Like you need that appliance. Like it's an obsession. You need it now because it's going to make your life easier, right? Just like with like a food processor, like food processors are amazing. Like, yeah, for a while, super obsessed about that. And then when you look at all the recipes and delicious food that you can make, it just makes you want it even more. Now, the next thing is that you probably have got a few like really good friends, right? So remember back in the day when you used to have all those friends, right? And you could go out and hang out with them, you could, you know, spend time with them, you could share stories with them, party with them, you know, get advice from them, you know, all kinds of things, right? Well, yeah, along the way, yeah, those friends have sort of like faded away, okay? So in your late 20s, they've faded away, all right? And this all for different reasons. Everyone has their own story, their own reason, right? But just know that you'll quickly find out who your real friends are by the time you end up finishing off those late 20s, okay? Once you figure out who those friends are, make sure you hold on to those friends. Now, the next thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that alcohol can absolutely ruin you at this point, okay? So your recovery time, slow. Hangovers, worse. But there is one upside, and that is that number one, you have a bit more money now, right? And you're not forced to drink grain alcohol from plastic bottles that burns all the way down. Now you can be a little bit more sophisticated, right? Now you have like, you know, maybe you have like your own drink. Maybe now you can have like that top shelf that you can go and buy and you can afford it and it tastes good, right? So now it's like you can enjoy it more now at this point, right? And so you might even have like your own drink at this point. Like you might even, like for instance, mine is like an old fashioned, like I like old fashions, that's my thing. So maybe you actually have like a drink at this point, right? What's your drink? Put it in the comments below for me. So the next thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that sleep is your friend, okay? Now, I'll say this, try missing vital sleep in your late 20s, okay? I'm gonna tell you this, you're gonna regret it. And not only that, everyone you know will know that you regret it because it'll show, okay? And when I say it'll show, I mean that it's gonna show, like it's gonna show, all right? So people are gonna say things to you like, ooh, you look tired, or you look like crap today. So just savor those sweet moments if you're still young enough to do so, okay? That's what I will say. Now, the next thing is that everyone has tried multi-level marketing at this point, and we don't want the invitation, okay? We don't want that phone call. We don't need you to invite us, okay? And you know what I'm talking about. It's those little sort of like pyramid scheme type businesses where someone's like, you know, they call you up and they're like, oh, hey, I know somebody who's like ridiculously young and they're so rich now and they've retired from the corporate life. You know, I want you to come to a meeting with me where we can find out how they did it, right? And so then it sounds really good and you're like, wow, that sounds pretty crazy or whatever. And so then you end up getting sucked into their cult and then you show up or whatever, and then you find out that you have to pay like all this money to be part of it, but it sounds really good, so you can't stop. And then they want you to go through your phone and call all the people that you know, and then it ends up making you lose half your friends because then you're mad that they won't come and show up to your meeting, or even worse, people will start to wonder when you lost all of your marbles. So just know at this point it's not going to work on us, okay, because we've probably already been there. All right, so you probably, if you're looking for somebody fresh, you know, you might want to just go ask somebody in their early 20s because maybe they'd be down because they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Now, the next thing no one tells you about your late 20s is that you start to own who you are more, right? You just become a bit more comfortable in like who the person you are, like who you've become, right? So before, you know, you used to worry about like what people think of you, like, oh my God, they think I'm a jerk, or oh my gosh, like you start to worry about stuff. But now it's like, yeah, I'm kind of a jerk sometimes. Like, you know, now it's like you kind of own it. You're like, yeah, I'm kind of a jerk. You know, like they didn't know, like that's how it is now. So yeah, just know that, yeah, in your late 20s, you really just sort of start to grow into yourself. Now, the next thing that no one tells you about your late 20s is that people start to ask you for advice. Now, it starts to feel a little weird, right? Because remember back to when you used to go ask other people for advice, you used to like seek their advice and wisdom, right? Remember those days? Well, now it's your turn and now you've apparently got all the answers. So they're coming to you with their questions, like they just have to know, but little do they know, you still might be figuring some of this stuff out. So you're like, I don't know. And you give them the best advice you can. But now it's your turn. So just know it's your turn now for people to start asking you stuff. Now, if you made it this far in the video, I want to know what are some things that no one told you about your late 20s. So go ahead and leave those in the comments below. Definitely would love to hear what you have to say. Also, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button for me. Also, if you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this every Wednesday. And I will see you guys next time.